Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Amrita Mataji. That was very nice. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow. I'll share my screen. Yeah. Is my screen visible to everyone? Hare Krishna. Is my screen visible?
Yes, Mataji.
Very good. Okay. So today we will actually be looking at chapter 16. This chapter is called the Daiva Asura Sampada Vibhaga Yoga. It means the divine and the demonic natures. And this is again another interesting chapter that is really an eye-opener with respect to how each of us in different phases of our life need to have certain qualities. Okay. So yesterday we saw the chapter of the Ashwatha tree, where we learned about that this material world is all about perversion of the spiritual world. And we also studied the example of an inverted tree, which is an upside down tree. It's called the peepal tree or the Ashwatha tree or the banyan tree. This is just an imaginary tree. A tree like this does not exist, but however, this is for the purpose of using it as an example. And Bhagavad Gita, as you know, is full of examples. And examples are the way in which we can relate to the higher concepts, the philosophical concepts that are here in these great scriptures. And even if we remember these examples, that itself will help us to understand or to recall the high points of each of the chapters. Okay, so remember 15 chapters all about the Ashwatha tree, the upside down Ashwatha tree. Okay, and this upside down Ashwatha tree is all about the roots going upward indicate our roots which come from the creator, the Brahma. And then the branches going downwards indicate our desires which get deep rooted and does not let us to move up the ladder of self-realization. Therefore, we must cut this tree that deeply attaches us and entangles us to this material world, which is impermanent and not eternal, whereas we, being a part and parcel of that eternal soul, our real abode is with the eternal God consciousness that is within us as the super soul or the super Brahman. Then we also talked about the transmigration of souls. Because of our desires, we get the bodies, and therefore we take on, the desires are fulfilled by the body types, and the body types then define the gunas that we will normally attach ourselves to. Okay. Now, Krishna is the maintainer. So now in this human form that we all are, and having got this opportunity to know the jnana, the knowledge that is there, that is being given to us by the Lord himself, we must therefore understand this well and try and live this life as well as possible, so that we not only attain perfection in this life, but also we slowly inch towards getting liberation or the moksha, so that we get a body type that is not going to be menial, or that is not going to be something of the lower order, the lower species, from where coming up again is going to be a lot of it's not going to be easy, and it's going to take a lot of time. Okay, so this is what we covered in chapter 15. And in this chapter, there are predominantly 4 sections. In the first 3 verses, the Lord is going to define what are the divine qualities, which is called the Daiva, the Daiva nature. And then in another 4 verses, he's going to talk about the demonic nature or the Asura qualities. And then around 10 verses, he's going to talk about the activities of the demonic people. He has spoken a lot in the previous chapters on the divine qualities and how the divine qualities, there were 20 qualities that we studied in chapter 13, where the reference was given more towards to attain jnana or to attain knowledge. Even to attain knowledge, we need to have good qualities in us. And that's what he referred to in the previous chapter. But in this chapter, he's going to divide it, at least Prabhupada has divided it for us in terms of the different phases of our life. And in each phase of those life, what are those qualities that we need to imbibe, or we need to have, so that we cross over those phases successfully. And in the last section of this chapter, he's also going to talk about the ingredients of the demonic tendencies. What is it that leads us to attach ourselves to the Asura qualities or the demonic qualities? Okay. So before that, I will say the Mangala Charana. And if all of you have the book, please, you can also say it along with me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Ena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Vancha Kalpata Rubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we will jump to this chapter now. This is again a short chapter, but a nice chapter. Okay. Yeah. So is my screen visible to all?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, just give me a minute again. This is a little disturbing. This off for a while. Daiva Asura Sampada Vibhaga Yoga, chapter 16, the divine and the demonic natures. Can someone read this, this slide? It is, as I told you, this is the first section which talks about the various divine qualities. Okay? Okay, go ahead, sir. Hare Krishna.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of Vedas, austerity, simplicity, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, reunification,
Yeah. Renunciation.
renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortune, fortitude. Ma'am, what is this?
Fortitude. Fortitude is determination. Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
Fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharata, belong to godly men endowed with divine nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here there are so many qualities, and some of you may wonder, aren't these the same qualities that we kind of read in chapter 13? Yeah, but those qualities are the same, but these qualities were taken with respect to the process of acquiring knowledge. If one has to acquire knowledge, then these are the qualities that one need to have, so that we are able to get the knowledge that we are studying in the right way. If the knowledge, is interrupted by way of any of these qualities not being in the right places, then the acquisition of the knowledge, or the knowledge that we are supposed to get, is likely to be little imbalanced. Okay, but here Prabhupada gives us a beautiful explanation as to which are the qualities that we require at different phases of our life. Now, all of you are young people, and therefore, if you are all in the phase of, say, I would assume, if we have to put them in the Varnashrama, categories, then you are in the category of your adult, your boyhood, girlhood, or just in the nick of your adulthood, right? So which do you think are the qualities you need so that you can do well in this particular phase of your life? Look at this chart and tell me, in your stages of your life. Okay, so you are at the adolescence stage now. In this stage, which of these qualities are important for you? Pick up at least 4 or 5 which you think is important for you to move into a good adult phase.
Self-control,
Great.
simplicity,
Okay.
Gentleness, steady determination,
cultivation of spiritual knowledge.
Okay.
Study of
freedom
the Vedas.
from envy.
Freedom from envy. Okay.
Study of the Vedas.
Study of the Vedas also. Great. Okay.
Freedom from anger.
Freedom from anger. So can you tell me why? Good points. But can you tell me why freedom from anger is important, Mataji?
Because in anger we do things without thinking.
Very nice.
And later we regret.
Very nice. Excellent. And Prabhuji, you said study of the Vedas. Why do you think study of the Vedas is needed for you at this stage in life?
Because we should know the Vedas so that we can improve our life.
Okay, super. And somebody said freedom from envy. Can you describe that, Hare Krishna?
Because we constantly compare ourselves with others, and we can't focus on ourselves.
So it keeps your mind calm and it helps you to focus on yourself better. Great. Now, for the next stage of life, which is adulthood, say that once when one enters into, the Grihastha Ashrama. So Prabhupada gives us a few qualities that are important at the Grihastha Ashrama. Before I get there, I want you to look at fearlessness. That's the first quality that is there, which the Lord, spells out. This fearlessness is very, very important for those who are in that spiritualized or the spiritually realized state. Because in that state, these are the people who are even above the Brahmanas. The Varnas, if you know, has the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishnavas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras, right? Now, even above all of these people are the spiritually realized souls. Now, these spiritually realized souls have to be extremely fearless. They should not stop themselves from speaking the truth and calling out the truth. Because all the other people, we all follow them, right? Now, Prabhupada has given us so much of knowledge. Why is it that we need to be following him? Because he is spiritually realized and he has really said a lot of things which nobody has ever said. And he's also kind of given us, a path that will help us to lead our lives well and as attain the supreme liberation, which is what we must focus on, or which is what should be our actual outlook. So therefore, the spiritually realized people have to be extremely fearless and not hold back things to please certain quarters of people, certain quarters of society, or certain people in power. If the spiritually realized people do not adhere to this particular quality, then it is not going to spell well for the Brahmanas, the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and the Shudras. Because we look at the leader, and here the leader for us is not a leader in terms of any material aspects, it's more around the spiritual aspect. So spiritually realized people have to be extremely fearless. Okay. Now for the Grihasthas, Prabhupada gives qualities of, they need to have a lot of self-control. As you grow, as you get into your family life, self-control is extremely going to be important, especially with respect to, the desires of the bodily needs, etc. And also with respect to, how we conduct our life within the family and outside the family. Because that self-control is what will help us to do our activities well, which is what called yagna, or the sacrifice. It will help us, the self-control will help us to do our activities well. If the self-control is not there, we will not set up a good example within the family, and also it will also hamper us from doing our activities well. Okay.
Mataji, we can say that it is an important point.
It is an important point. Yes, your self-control and your sacrifice, your activities, doing your activities well is very, very important for a Grihastha. Okay. I'm not saying the others are not important, but these are the key qualities which will help you to lead a good Grihastha life. See, when you're a husband or a wife, it's important for you to have certain, lines drawn, which should not be crossed. For example, infidelity, cheating on your husband or cheating on your wife. Okay, having multiple partners. These are the things that actually come under self-control. Okay, if you read the purport of Prabhupada, he explains it beautifully. But I'm just going to give you, the key aspects around it, so that it'll when you read it, you will be able to recall this and will be able to appreciate the points that Prabhupada is giving us based on the qualities that the Lord is listing out for us. Okay. And the other thing is, the next thing is for brahmacharis, like what you all said, Vedic study, austerity of the body and mind and tongue is equally important, because that's an austerity of the body. It's required for all, but it's required at the brahmachari and the grihastha life, because what you say cannot be taken back. And therefore, your mind has to be really in good control, so that your intellect is what you're always working at the intellectual level and not the emotional level, because at the emotional level, very often we do things or we say things which may or may not be helpful to us. Therefore, control of what we say, how we say, and how we conduct ourselves is equally important for the grahastha and for the brahmachari, because especially at your level, your relationships are all dependent on your actions, on your activities. Okay, the kind of relationships you build, the good relationships you build, the good qualities that you exhibit is the one that's going to help you to get good relationships and make good friends who will, see, at the end of the day, we are social animals. We need to have a group of people with whom we can also grow, right? So therefore, to kind of have that growing, support, we need to have the right kind of people who will help us to give us that kind of support emotionally and intellectually. Are you with me?
Yes, Mataji.
And the other thing that is very important is simplicity, especially for the grahasthas, and for the what do you call it, the brahmacharis as well, because being straightforward is very, very important. If you're not straightforward, if you're not going to be yourself, you're going to live in a world of conceit and deceit. You're going to be cheating on yourself as much as you cheat others, and that's not going to be helpful in the long run. Simplicity is very, very important, at a grahastha level also, because your children are going to imbibe the things that you are going to show them. So you have to show them the way, just as Lord Janaka showed the way to his people and Lord Krishna showed the way to all of us. And then the Lord also, Prabhupada also talks us about some of the qualities that are needed for a Kshatriya. Now, what are they? Vigor. They need that, that power. They need the strength for their own body. And that strength is not only for them to be able to be in good health, but also to help and support the people who they are expected to, protect. And then they also need to have a lot of fortitude, mental strength and physical strength. That is fortitude. Okay. And then they also need to be, respecting others. You have to respect people. Otherwise, you can't really, be able to cross over this material, the various material, sections that come in our life. So we have to have respect for everybody, irrespective of whether we are a grahastha or a brahmacharya or in the kshatriya level. Okay. And then once you cross over, when you are, getting into the retirement phase, that which will help you to really shine well and also to help yourself to elevate is compassion, freedom from attachment, freedom from anger, okay, renunciation, giving up things. You need to be more in the sense of giving up. You should not have those, hold on to those things which mattered to you, when you were a grihastha. You have to just slowly give up. You should not, for example, very often what do? We expect the same kind of relationships to continue, that which was when we were children and that which was when we were growing up, and then when we are grown up. We expect the relationships all to be the same. No, it will not be, because each one of us is changing ourselves, and each of our relationships are also changing. Their environment is changing. Their ideas are changing. Okay. Their needs in life are going to be different. So therefore, you have to just give up. The moment you give up, when you don't have those kind of expectations, the same kind of expectation that you had of your brother or your sister when you all were little children, and when you grow up, when those expectations don't exist, then the relationship will be good. You will accept them the way they are. Now, when you don't do that, there is expectation mismatch, and it will lead to unnecessary heartburns, which will not be good for the relationship. And the relationship finally may also not, extend. It may just turn blunt. And that's not what we want. We want to keep all our relationships, at least the relationship that matter to us, our parents, our siblings, okay, and then our spouses, some good friends of ours. We need those relationships. So therefore, that renunciation is very, very important as we grow older. Okay, and these will help us to maintain the tranquility. It will keep us in a way in which we can really look at we can live that part of the retirement life and look forward to complete renunciation in the form of taking sannyasa. See, that's how people led their lives those days. So Prabhupada breaks up the 100 years that is there for Kali Yuga. He says the first 25 years is all your brahmacharya. The next 25 years, he says, is your grihastha. Then the next 25 years is retirement. And then he says the last 24 years should really be more towards sannyasa, more towards self-realization, more towards spirituality. But of course, it does not stop us from, getting self-realized and spiritualized even at a young age. Okay. Do you want to discuss anything further on this slide? Hare Krishna. Anything else? Any of the other qualities?
Mataji, what is freedom from covetousness?
Freedom from covetousness is, not trying to that I am the doer. Me, I, that ego. It is mine. I, territory, being territorial, being very possessive. Even that should go as we grow older. When I say older, you should start it from now itself. You should not have that, me, mine, because the moment that me, mine comes, that attachment comes. When you have that attachment, then it leads to bondages and misery. Okay?
Mataji, what is aversion to fault finding?
That's it. See, this is important for, especially now that you're going to get into your next phase of your life. And the moment we need to see the goodness in everybody. See, everyone has something good in them. See, even the most demonic person also has some good in them. So try to look at the goodness in them, especially when you get into office, the office stage and all that. There will always be competition with respect to, who is doing better and all that, because those kind of comparisons will always be made. So whenever those comparisons are being made, don't get into that. Don't try to find fault with what the other person has done. Rather, try to see the good that the person has done. Because when you look at it that way, the other person will also look at you that way. At least most of the people will look at you that way, because they'll find you as a safe haven. They'll find you very safe. They will not see you as a competitor. They will not see you as an opponent.
If a person do wrong, then suppose if a person is doing wrong, I have seen that work, then the whole colleagues have not seen that. Then if I support it, then it is wrong and you're right.
You needn't have to support anything right. Here we are talking about fault finding. Fault finding is different from someone who's doing wrong. A wrong is always a wrong, but fault finding is different from a wrong that is being done. Fault finding is, see, you can find, 1 minute, Bithyan, I can find fault with you. There is nothing, I don't have anything to do with you. I'll find fault with you. That is fault finding. You can find fault with me. You can find fault with me now. That is fault finding. You got the difference?
No, Mataji, not a difference.
See, a wrong is a wrong. If somebody is going and killing somebody on the road, that is wrong. That is not fault finding.
No, that is wrong. But if a person sees the fault of that person, then that is fault finding. No?
That is fine. When someone is doing something wrong, calling out that wrong is a very different thing. But trying to find a fault in somebody when they are not even, when that is not even called for. See, I have cooked food. Like, let me give you. I have cooked food for my family. I have cooked it with all my passion. Maybe thoda salt kam ho gaya. You can always go and ask, hey, thoda extra salt chahiye mujhe. Thank you. Food is excellent. Please give me some salt. Rather than saying, kya food banaya, salt kam hai. Salty to kam tha na, aur kuch kam nahi tha na. मैंने प्यार से बनाया. जो आप सबको चाहिए, आपको छोले भटूरे थी आज की मेन्यू में, छोले भटूरे ही बनाया. थोड़ा सॉल्ट कम हो गया. Instead of not looking at the right things that went, छोला आया, भटूरा आया, presentation अच्छा था, सब कुछ अच्छा था, states is very nice. You are not looking at all that. You're not looking at the effort that has gone to make the chole bhature. But you're looking at, अरे यार salt कम हो गया. क्या छोला भटूरा बनाया आज? Salt कम.
That means I am poking the person, right?
That is called fault.
Okay.
समझ में आया? Wrongdoing is, suppose I don't file my taxes on time. That is a wrongdoing. The taxman will come behind me.
Okay,
Okay,
Mataji.
that is a wrong word. Okay.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. We'll move to the next one. Can somebody read this? Read the translation.
Arrogance, pride, anger, consent, harshness, and ignorance. These qualities belong to those of demonic nature. O son of earth.
In the previous one, ahimsa. Where is ahimsa? Non-violence. Non-violence is very important. This reflects or this shows, points to our compassion and our love for every living entity. We should not get violent or go kill an animal for the name of sacrifice or in the name of our food. Prabhupada says there's enough and more that the nature has given us, and particularly for us in India, we get all kinds of fruits and vegetables all through the year. When such things are available, he says there's no need for us to kill any living entity which is a part and parcel of that divine entity. So remember, non-violence has to be taken in the right context. Non-violent, unnecessary violence on any living entity cannot be pardoned. But when you say, is war justified? Yes, a war is justified when the aggressor is being nasty with us. When an aggressor is unnecessarily coming to our borders and troubling our people, then a war is justified. But without any kind of a provocation, I go and pounce on somebody, which is what is happening these days. That is violence. Okay? Okay. Now, those qualities that we saw, if you count them, they were 26 in number. Now, look at this qualities of the demonic qualities or negative qualities. Arrogance, jamba. Arrogance is also too much. He calls it arrogance is darpo. Darpo, the Sanskrit word is darpo. Dambo is pride. Anger is krodha. Then conceit, that is abhimanascha. Dambo, darpo, abhimanascha, krodha. Paryushyam evacha. Ajnanam is ignorance and ignorance. These are the qualities that belong to demonic nature. How many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 qualities are actually the ones which are negative. Otherwise, the nature gives us so many good qualities, but people turn to these qualities and to make a misery of their life. Okay?
Bhimansha means Abhiman.
No, which one? Abhimanascha. Abhimanascha means conceit. Conceit is, being very, pretentious. Someone who's not straightforward, someone who hides things from others, someone who wants a lot of, attention, anything anybody does, they will go and stand in the front of the camera and they will go and stand in the front of the stage. That's conceit. Very conceited behavior. Someone who's not straightforward. Okay? Abhiman. Abhimanascha. It is different from your, yeah.
Here it is Abhiman, it is the Bhimansha written, no?
No, it's Abhiman. See, whenever that apostrophe comes before a thing in Sanskrit, you need to add a. Okay? Dambo, darpo, abhimanascha. Okay? And when you have the krodha, that dot down the H is krodha. Then PA, with that mark over the A, it's parushyam. That sa becomes sha, parushyam a. Since you have the book with you, Prabhuji, please look at that. Prabhuji the Prabhupada has given us all those index, how to read the English of the Sanskrit.
Yes, there is written.
Yeah, okay. So, okay, I will go to the next slide. Now, Daiva Sampada Vimokshaya Nibandaya Suri Mata Ma Suchaha Sampadam Daivim Abhijato Asipandava. Can you read this, please? Hare Krishna.
The transcendental qualities are conductive to liberation, whereas the demonic qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities.
Here, the Lord is trying to, trying to affirm that Arjuna is a good man. He says, you have divine qualities. It's only that those people who have demonic tendencies, they are the ones who are going to get, entangled in this material world. Whereas you are born with divine qualities. Okay. See, a teacher always brings out the best in a student. And that's what the Lord is doing. And they also try to give the student a vision into the goodness or the strengths that they have. Okay. So the Lord here is doing that. He's talking about all these qualities, but Arjuna shouldn't think by fighting the war he's a bad man. No, he is fighting a war to win over the adharma. This is a dharmic war. This is a war between dharma and adharma. So he says, by fighting this war, you're not going to be demonic. Rather, you have all the divine qualities, and therefore what you're doing is for the right reason. Okay? Can someone read this? 16.6. Hare Krishna.
O son of Panda, in this world there are two kinds of created things. One is called a divine and the other demonic. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now, hear from me of the demonic.
Yeah. So now the Lord says, basically there are two categories of people. You're good or you're bad. There's nothing in between. It's black and white. There's nothing in between. This is a good person always is a good. All the virtuous qualities that you read before is virtue anywhere in any part of the world and in any yuga and any age. A simplicity is always a great quality. Arrogance is always a bad quality. If I carry arrogance, it doesn't hold me in good stead. It is bad is a bad is a bad. Similarly, anything which is good, all the qualities, the 26 qualities that we saw, they're all good qualities, and nobody will counter you on those qualities. Nobody will say, oh, that is not a good quality. They are good qualities. So God is saying there are two kinds of people with these two kinds of qualities. And he says, I've explained to you at length the details of the divine. I will now explain to you what are the things, characteristics of these these people with demonic qualities. How do they act? What is their attitude? And how do they engage in different activities that they do? Okay. Can you read this?
A person can have demonic as well as good, positive activity.
When the moment you have a demonic, your positive gets completely shadowed, no?
No, I want to say that a person have two type of quality, no?
You cannot. See, if your good is a good always, when even you have one of these bad qualities and arrogance comes in any of the thing, there will be a little bit of it'll not lead you to, because, see, anger leads to what? Anger, if there is a quality as anger in you, will it lead you to good? Even if you have 100 good things, but if anger is present in that person, how will it help that person? Okay, the person has many qualities. If lust is present in that person is a womanizer, or the lady is cheats men. Can that be good? Can you call that person good? Even if that person gives charity to 100 people, 100 institutions, supports very many NGOs, but the person has these bad qualities, will you call that person bad or good?
Bad.
Bad. That's it. That's what the God is saying. Good is good, bad is bad. There are only two classes of people, good and bad. Nothing in between. And you cannot have anything. You can't say, mostly I am good, but once in a while I am this. But that once in a while when you're that can lead you to the biggest of problems in life.
That only I was asking.
Yeah, you cannot. That's why you need to be very guarded. That's why this knowledge will help you to keep a guard and keep a watch on how you behave and what are your actions. And also how are you reacting to certain situations that come about around you. See, what is the purpose of reading? That's why we say it is not just about these 18 days. It's about, continuously, constantly going back and referring to these, because these will keep your, conscience on the right path. Okay, it'll help you to reflect. I've always said this, right? The reflection, the contemplation is very important. That is the only thing which will help you to overcome your deficiencies, overcome your inefficiencies, overcome your, your qualities that are actually, not doing you any good. Now, 16.7, those who are demonic, what happens with them? They do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. This cleanliness refers to the inner cleanliness, not the external. Externally, probably they're all fit and booted and suited and all that stuff. That is not cleanliness. Carrying a great, branded handbag and branded suitcase and all is not a sign of cleanliness. The real cleanliness is how you kind of interact and how are you looking at things, in situations where you require to use your judgment in a way that it's helpful to all. So these people do not know what is to be done. They only know one thing. They only know that it has to favor them. And they also don't know what is not to be done, because that is not in their dictionary. Such qualities, they won't even know there is something called goodness that exists. All that they know is, yes, it's my way or no way. It's my way or no way or the highway. So these are the qualities of the people who do not have the good qualities. And their behavior you will definitely get to know the people and, how they are, what they are, in interactions that you have. Therefore, interactions are very, very important. How you interact with people, because just the way you are kind of, looking for, for happiness in every relationship, the other person is also looking for the same thing. So you need to understand every transaction is being monitored. Just the way you monitor, the other person is also monitoring you. See, now you're also judging me. I am here at the other end. You're now, you are kind of making assessment about, yeah, theek hai, Mataji se mujhe kya mil raha hai. Just as the way, I also assess your interest and your inquisitiveness and your, desire to learn more. So it is both ways, right? And when that matches, there is a great combination that happens, right? So the Lord further says, they say that this world is unreal, that there is no, the demonic people, what do the demonic people say? They say that this world is unreal. Okay, they do not, even if the Veda book is given to them, even if somebody sits them and, recites and helps them to understand, they say this world is unreal. There is no foundation. There is no God. We control everything. It is in our hands. We have to make the better. We have to make the world better. There's nobody else. This world has been created by ourselves. My forefathers have created this world. It is produced. They say the progeny that is happening, the creation that is happening, is a product of sex desire and has no other cause than lust. It's only lust. The world full of is lust. They don't believe in anything else other than lust and karma. And they are completely non-believers of God. In 16.9, he says, therefore, following such conclusions, what do these demonic people do? What do these people with these negative qualities do? They are lost to themselves and they have no intelligence. They engage in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. I'm not taking the names of various people who are out in this world to destroy this world right now, but by this picture what is happening in this world. And these people who are making such things happen are really evil-minded, demonic. They don't have an iota of good qualities that is required if we want to make this world a better place. These are non-believers, these are atheists. Their only thing is their own self-interest and their own, welfare is what they look for. They don't care about anybody else. Okay. So what do the demonic do? The demonic, taking shelter of insatiable. What do they indulge in? They indulge in insatiable. They have no limit to their sexual desires. They have extraordinary pride and false prestige. They're completely pretentious. They can't be trusted. And they're always in their own world. And therefore, they are in the illusion. They don't understand the larger concept of life. And even when they look around them and see the various forms of life, they still don't get to know what leads us to a certain life that we get. These are people who are Moodatmas, are fools. Okay, they are attracted to the impermanent. They are attracted to material things. They're not attracted to the eternal joy of spirituality, eternal joy of self-realization. Can somebody read 16.11 and 12? Hare Krishna.
Believe, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Ah.
They believe that to gratify the sense unto the end of life is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, there is no end to their anxiety.
Yeah.
Being bonded by hundreds and thousands of desires by lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So these are the kind of things that these people do. They get into illicit relationship. They're never satisfied with one family and one spouse and one partner. For them, they it just means they have to just go on a rampage with respect to fulfilling their desires. And then they also get into things which are abominable, which are evil. Gambling is just an example, but also it need not be only gambling. It also any business they do, any kind of work they do, it is always looking at how can they gain from a certain situation. It could be stock market, it could be their business, cheating on their business partners, intoxication, all kinds of addictedness. Anything and everything is there in them, because they think the material body is only for enjoyment. You have to do the maximum, and money is to be used for your own personal joy. And they don't care. For them, they eat anything that runs and hops and flies and swims, anything that comes their way, because for them, they need to taste everything, because their God has given them this body. He's also given them all the digestive system, the digestive juices. So they have to do, they will even go to the extent of probably killing a human as well. So these are people with no moral values. Okay. 16.13 and 15, someone wants to read it? Yeah.
If a person is doing business, then it can be said that he is doing gambling.
No, there are rules for doing business. When you do the business in the right way, it's not gambling. When you do not do the business in the right way, where you're out to cheat your customers, where you're fooling your people, you say, I give you a guarantee for 10 years, and next day you vanish, you wind up your company and go away. That is illegal business. A builder today, most of the builders today, they fool us. They say this project, we will complete it to you in the next 2 years. And you take a loan from the bank. You are a normal software engineer or someone who working in an office or a government office, getting a salary. You have an EMI to pay. You have taken a loan, expecting that the house that you will get in 2 years' time. The house never gets completed in 2 years, not in 3 years, not in 4 years, not in 5 years. Your EMI is going. There's no house in hand. And then finally, one day you hear the builder has run away. That is cheating. He was also in business. He could have nicely constructed. He has taken money from you. He could have constructed the house and given to you. Did he do that? That is not gambling. Okay. 16.13 and 15. The demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more according to my schemes. This is how a Vaishya behaves. This is how a person who's an entrepreneur with ill intentions behaves. I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. They kill all competition. They don't want anybody else to compete with them. If anybody competes with them, go after them. Completely eliminate them. And my other enemy will also be killed. They only intent is they only should. It's complete monopoly. I don't want anybody else. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful. They think they are perfect. They think the world around is imperfect. The imperfection, they are perfect according to them. I am the richest, surrounded by aristocratic relatives. They like to move around with people like them. People who are externally very showy, but internally they are hollow. There is none powerful. This is an example of Ravan and all. Ravan, he was completely vying and competing with Lord Rama. He knew Lord Rama was far, he is Mahavishnu, but still he was competing. And what did he do? He said, anyone and everyone, I believe he built a ladder to the higher planets. And he told people, do whatever you want. This ladder is there. You can go to the higher planets and enjoy all the prosperity that is there for you in the higher planets. So he completely spoiled. The reason why Ravan had to be eliminated was because he was spoiling the basic fabric of society. Okay. And there is none so powerful and happy. I shall perform sacrifice. That is Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj kept doing sacrifices. He thought he'll do sacrifices. He will do whatever he wants. He's the Lord of Lords. And therefore the Lord had to take a Vamana avatar and had to extinguish him. Because Bali Maharaj early morning when he's doing the yagas and all, he'll give charity. He thought, I'm giving charity. Anyway, I'm doing good. So therefore I'm a good man. And thus I shall rejoice. In this way, such persons are deluded. All this is ignorance. If we think we are all in all, if we think, the law will not catch up on us at one point in time, we are fools. If the law doesn't catch us in the material world, it will definitely catch us after this material life of us. Okay. 16.16, thus perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusion, one becomes so strongly attached to sense enjoyment, falls down to the hell. There's no other place for such people other than hell. Now, bewildered by false ego, they're always full of ego or ahankaram, strength, pride, lust, anger. The demon becomes envious of the supreme personality of Godhead, who's situated in his own body. This is Shishupal. Shishupal gave him a lot of chances. Lord gave Shishupal a lot of chances, but he went on abusing the Lord until, the maximum number of limit of tolerance he had exceeded, and finally the Lord had to extinguish. So similarly, this is an example to show that we cannot continue on with these kind of qualities forever, because something will happen that it will push us away from our pride, and we will fall so down that we'll never be able to get up again. And there are very many examples, so many people, very many people who were big businessmen and who had their own name and fame and all in the country have had to flee the country. I'm not taking the names because I'm on live stream, but you know the names. 16.19, those who are envious and mischievous, those who have these qualities are obviously envious and they're mischievous. They are all constantly up to something. Are the lowest among the men, are cast by me unto the ocean of material existence. So such people will never get liberation. Liberation can only happen when there is self-realization. If these people will never realize what is the purpose of life and what is it that we must do so that we get completely, eternally, out of this material existence. These people will never understand. So these are the souls which continue to, keep coming back into this material world. So if you and I want liberation, we need to understand that we don't want life with such kind of miserable souls that keep coming into the world again and again. So our focus should be towards, self-realization, and self-realization is the only path for a complete spiritual engagement with the Lord. Okay. So after attaining repeated birth amongst a species of demonic life, such person can never approach me. These people are almost impossible. Any number of creations the Lord creates, these people will keep coming and going. They'll always be there. They'll all be the best buddies around all the time. They sing to the most abominable type of existence. Okay. So now the Lord is talking about 3 gates leading. Which are the things that lead to hell? There are 3 things: lust, anger, and greed. Okay. Lust is desire, anger is krodha, and greed is kama, krodha, lobha. Greed is lobha. So these are the 3 gates that lead to hell. And this is also, which are the seating places of lust, anger, and greed? We read in the previous chapter. Which are the places where lust, anger, and greed sits? Hare Krishna. Which are the seating places of lust, anger, and greed? The sense organs, the mind, and the intellect. Do you recall that? Which are the seating places?
Mataji.
Yeah. So remember that. Lust, anger, and greed are the gates that will lead us to hellish lives. Every sane man should give these up, for they lead to the degradation of the soul, because you are not only degrading yourself materially and in your bodily way, but it also degrades your soul. Your soul starts completely identifying itself with the demonic qualities, and it never comes out to, because the soul gets its nourishment from the mind, intellect, and your sense organs. So therefore, you have to control the three places where lust, greed, and anger are constantly waiting to get into it. Okay. The man who has escaped these three gates of hell, O son of Kunti, performs acts conducive to self-realization. What are they? Acceptance of a spiritual master, acceptance of a bona fide guru, study of the Vedas, austerity, having controls, and as well as practicing good behavior and good manner. That is austerity. Sense control, keeping your senses in check, not allowing them to play truant with you. And spiritual knowledge is what will help us to climb these steps towards God realization. But who discards? He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness. No, there is no place for such a person, either in this material world or in the next birth, and supreme destination is out of reach. Therefore, one should understand what is duty and what is not duty by the regulations of the scriptures. So scriptures, the scriptures have, rules. They have a rule book for every kind of profession, whether you're taking a Brahminical profession or a Kshatriya profession, the Vaishya profession, the Shudra profession. The Vedic scriptures gives us guidance on each of the duties that we have to perform in every, in each of those, professions that we take up. Knowing such rules and regulation, one should act in that manner so that you can gradually be elevated. See, look at Lord Krishna and Balaram. They are transcendental souls, but when they came to the earth, they went through the process of that everyone had to go through. They were little children playing with their parents and with all the Brijvasis, and then they went to the Gurukula, that Sandipa Muni. Look at the way how intently did he have to do that? Did the Lord have to do that? No. The Lord did every duty that he had to do in each phase of his life. So that is what it is. That is what is meant by we need to understand our duty and act and do our duties and act accordingly, so that it helps us to kind of grow in the scale of knowledge. Okay. So with that, we end this chapter. Okay. So can each one of you tell me, it'll be great if I can hear from you as to what your takeaways or insights are from this chapter.
To take our anger in control.
Okay, that's your takeaway. Great. Yes, Dimple Mataji, what would your takeaway be?
To avoid any of the qualities which are harmful for me, like any of the demonic qualities.
Excellent. Thank you, Mataji. Bitayan Prabhu, what is your takeaway?
Non-violence and
Non-violence.
study of Vedas.
Very good. Prathanesh Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, your takeaway, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji. My takeaway is control of your senses. It is the most important.
Very.
And a continuous bhakti of Lord.
Very nice. Thank you, Prathanesh Prabhu. Bhumika Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, I told no.
Okay.
Control of
Sorry.
anger.
There is Daivik Shetty Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Any insight?
I feel the three gates of hell must be avoided, and we should have control on our senses.
Very nice. Sanchi Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. What is anything that struck you, which you would like to?
One should be determined to do the work properly.
Agam Prabhuji says something. Can somebody? Okay, Agam Prabhuji says, he says, avoid demonic qualities. Yes, by all means. And then Shrishti Mataji, what is your personal takeaway? Shrishti Mataji, Hare Krishna. Okay. So, the lessons for all of us from this chapter is that we are products of our own desires. We have to make up our mind as to where we want to be. Do we want to cultivate good habits, or we want to stay with the evil or the negative qualities that are constantly, attracting us? And we must cultivate humility. Humility is one of the foremost qualities that will help us to ensure that we are able to understand who we are and appreciate the life that we have, and to engage in activities that actually will be helpful to one and all. Fearlessness is another important thing, because as we grow older, that quality, abhayam, is very, very important, because unless you're fearless, you will not be able to call a spade a spade. But of course, do it with tact and diplomacy, so that, the world is bad around us. So we have to also imbibe tact and diplomacy, just as the way Lord Krishna did it. Lord Krishna was not brash in doing what he was doing. He was doing it so well, and everything was in accordance with the various, tenets of the scriptures. Even before getting into this war, he tried his best to avoid it or to stop it. He went through the process of talking to the teams, talking to the various people involved in it. He tried to kind of imbibe, he tried helping people to understand, look at things from outside of the self. He did everything. Okay. So therefore, whatever fearlessness, we have to be fearless, but ensure that you're doing it with tact and diplomacy. That is important. Tact and diplomacy is also equally important if we have to, ensure that we are able to live the life of, all the divine qualities that we saw in this chapter. And then you also need to be constantly inquisitive, to look within, and also to learn the various, elements, the various concepts, the rich knowledge that is there in these scriptures. You don't have to look anywhere. It is all there in the 700 verses. And if this study interests you, there is Srimad Bhagavatam that offers you even more. And if you still are more interested, go and read the Upanishads. I don't think there is any school or any college or any Ivy League, institution in this world which can impart this kind of knowledge. And this is so freely available. There's no price tag on this. And bhakti is a journey. Spirituality is a journey. You cannot say, I have reached the station. It takes you from one station to another station, but it goes on. You'll have to go on in the train. You have to be on the train and keep continuing your journey. You can stop, but then when you stop, remember you have to start again. Bhakti is therefore a journey. And bhakti is very sublime. It gives you joy. It gives you joy. It gives you a lot of peace. It also helps you to reach perfection and excel in the things that you do. Okay. And what does bhakti give you? Bhakti gives you knowledge. And what does knowledge lead to? Knowledge helps you, because if you have to be, retain the knowledge you have to contemplate. You have to think, what is it that I studied? And that will lead you to further inquiry, which will make you read more. And when that happens, you are further reflecting. Okay, this is what I read. These are the qualities. Am I living them? That will help you to reflect constantly. It will make you, evaluate where you are on the standard that is needed for you to lead a good life. And it will also help to strengthen your intellect. When the intellect is strengthened, you will be able to discern and discriminate well, and anything and everything you do will be will be actually on the good side of things. Even if you do a wrong thing, you'll be able to come out of it immediately. That's what the strength of intellect is all about. Then this is what ultimately leads you to spiritualization, because you will understand the simple aspect of life, that goodness is what is spirituality, and spirituality is what will help you to give you the freedom of expression and freedom to live life well. Okay? Hare Krishna.
Mataji,
Ah.
how to balance spirituality as well as study?
Spirituality and study. No, I told you, right? See, half an hour every day. Take up the book. Take up 2 shlokas. Read 2 every day. Take up, you keep a subject. You say, okay, fine. This month I want to focus on this chapter. See, the Lord did not say chapter. Oh, now Arjuna, I'm saying chapter 1. See, this is Shankaracharya who divided the entire Bhagavad Gita that was spoken by the Lord to Arjuna. He's the one who put them into different sections. Okay, so pick up a section. So read 1 shloka. Okay, sometimes on some of the purports of Prabhupada, some purports are very, very long. So maybe you'll have to do it over 2 half an hours, 2 days. Do a little allocate. See, when you're studying, how do you make a timetable? I'm assuming all of you are in your graduation or post-graduation. Suppose you have physics, chemistry. I'm just taking basic physics, chemistry, biology, or say you have history, sociology, and psychology. You put a timetable. Aaj main ye padunga, kal main wo padunga. Ya fir when the exams are coming, you put a timetable in such a way that you're studying all the subjects, in the specified, maybe for 6 hours or something. I'll study 1 hour psychology, 2 hours of sociology, and 3 hours of history. Or say if you're studying for UPSC, you can see the kind of planning all these civil service aspirants do. They study for 10 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours and all a day. Or even all your engineering aspirants who are aspiring for, the IITs and stuff like that. So unless you make a timetable, you have to make a timetable, right? So similarly, make a timetable. So majority can be your studies, because obviously that, you need to progress in your life. Half an hour every day you can put for these studies too. Half an hour. And if all of you are interested, there are wonderful books written by a lot of our, there is a book called Surrender Unto Me. I'll show you the book tomorrow. Surrender Unto Me.
Mataji,
Yeah.
even I had the same question.
Yeah.
So after you told the Karma Yoga, so I started doing everything in my routine. It's like a service to Radha Krishna, and actually I was able to focus better on my studies.
Wow. Thank you, Bhumika ji, for sharing this. So, Biten Roy Prabhu, did you get your answer to some extent? See, we have to allocate time. If we don't allocate time, many people say, oh, I'm very busy. Of course, what busy? You don't have time for yourself? What is spirituality? Spirituality is taking care of yourself. Don't you have time for yourself? If you don't have time for yourself, then what kind of life are you leading? It is miserable. You're already making hell of your life. Don't make hell.
I think that when I study, I started a chapter and I read it half, then it is not good, no?
ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. आप half an hour रखो, जितना पढ़ पाओगे पढ़ो, and please understand, the more you read, your speed also increases. See, now that you're attending this course now, you have some idea, and now when you pick up the book and start reading, it'll be very easy for you. It will not be difficult for you. And hopefully some of you are joining level 2, but it'll actually make, the ease with which you read and the ease with which you understand is going to be very high. Had you not attended these classes, then I think it'll not be easy, unless you are, unless we are all. See, for me, I didn't find it easy. I had to attend a few classes. Only then this reading the book, made it, it's easy on me now. I'm able to, each time I read it, it gives me a very different perspective. Each time there is something I read, something I know better than what I knew the previous time. Okay?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prathamesh
Uh,
Prabhuji,
which is your most favorite Leela of Krishna?
which is my every Leela, so nice. Prabhuji, which Leela, how do you put a finger? It is like you're asking me, which part of my body do I like the most? I need every, my little finger I like my ring finger, I like my, middle finger, I like my index finger, I like my thumb. Everything is so useful, right? But I
Yes.
think, but Prabhupada, I think, gives a lot of importance to, I don't know, I think Prabhupada talks a lot about the Krishna book, a lot about the childhood leelas of the Lord and everything that he did, before
I
becoming.
have the book, ma'am.
So I think, maybe the childhood pastimes of the Lord are very beautiful, very nice. I think they're very, what do you call it? They're like nourishment, to a parched mind, It's like an oasis in a desert.
Mataji, what is the difference between two books, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam?
Beg your pardon?
Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Difference क्या है दोनों में?
Difference. Bhagavad Gita was spoken by the Lord, and it is a condensed. He has taken a lot of things from the various Vedic scriptures, which of course he is the author of all of them. Bhagavatam is all the stories of Lord's pastimes, the various avatarams that the Lord took, the various Purusha avatars, the various the expansions of the Lord, and as well as a lot of devotees, the very many devotees of the Lord. It's all their stories, which has been written over 12 cantos, and I think there are 18 books or something. If you take up Prabhupada's books, 18, and each one of those books are like thick ones like this.
Mataji, where should I get all 18 skandhas?
That you can, if you want, you can buy them. Who's asking? Prathamesh Prabhu. You can buy them, Prathamesh Prabhu. You can you can buy it from ISKCON Mangalore itself. It is highly at a subsidized rate. I think if you go to Amazon, anything, it's a lot more expensive. But if you buy it from ISKCON Mangalore, because our Prabhuji sells it as no profit price. If you don't want, I think it costs some $6,000 or something. All the 18 books. And then if you don't want to buy, then you can of course go to Veda Base. It's all there in the Veda Base.
Mataji,
Yes,
my father was gifted by these books.
Your father would have got, because your father is a life member, no?
Yes.
Yeah, even I am a life member, so even I have all of it. But see, when you become a life member, Prathamesh Prabhu, I think it's around 35,000 rupees, 35,500 rupees. And for those of you who want to pay it, in installment, you can do it in installment as well. And when you become a life member, you get a book's worth, something like 15,000 rupees or 16,000 rupees worth of books you get. Okay.
Yes,
and then you also get to, you get special passes for a lot of programs and all that. And you can also stay in the ISKCON facilities all over the world, for a certain specified period, maybe 3 days or 1 week or something in each of the ISKCON facility across the world. See, ISKCON is present in almost all the continents, and almost name the country, it's present. Do you know ISKCON is also there in Pakistan, in Multan?
No, I didn't know.
I have seen there. I have seen 5 days ago. That I have seen that in Pakistan there is ISKCON.
Yeah, in Multan.
Yes.
But anyway, we won't go there now. But so that's a benefit of becoming a thing. But Prathamesh Prabhu, you seem to be highly engaged and very interested. I hope you're all considering taking up level 2.
Yes,
how many of you are taking up level 2?
I am taking.
I am also.
I am
also.
See, let me tell you the process of these levels. Okay. Now, the process of the levels, why level 2, why level 3? There's level 2, there's level 3. In level 2 also, you'll be doing Bhagavad Gita only, but a little more. Yes, Agam Prabhu. Thank you, Agam Prabhu. In level 2, you'll be doing 1 chapter a week, I think over 2 days or something. You can choose your time, Saturday, Sunday, whatever time suits you, and language, whichever language suits you. So you will be doing in a little more detail. This was just, I just did a flying. I just flew over every shloka, right? But there you'll be doing one chapter a week. And then level 3 is where you will do 3 more books. You will do Nectar of Devotion, Nectar of Instruction, and you will do another book called Ishopanishad. Again, those will be, I think over a period of 18 weeks or something. So you get an overview of all that. So Bhagavad Gita, you'll be doing thematic study. For example, one theme will be transmigration of soul. So you'll be looking at how the Lord has, weaved, the transmigration of soul path in each of the chapters, right from chapter 2 onwards. Because even in this chapter, even the previous chapter, he talked about transmigration. And in this chapter, he also talked about how a person in different nature takes a certain birth in the next cycle, right? So, you will be doing thematic studies. Now, and then there's something called Bhakti Shastri. In Bhakti Shastri, it's Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Instruction, Nectar of Devotion, and Ishopanishad, very, very detailed study. And there you will have 6 closed book exams, you'll have to answer 12, detailed essay type answers in 700 to 800 words. But it has to be so perfectly done because you have to do it like the way you do a research project or research summary. Okay. And then there'll be shloka.
We will get certificate. We will get certificate.
For each of these levels, you'll get a certificate. But Bhakti Shastri is one of the most acclaimed certifications of ISKCON, because that enables you to get into preaching. And even some of you, maybe when you get into L2, L3, you can start preaching. You can start taking these, these overview classes if you're interested. You will be accorded those opportunities, and you will, you can really see these classes. What do these classes help us to do? It helps you to see. It helps me to read. Why do I do? I like doing these classes because it makes me read it again and again and again and again. That's the advantage. And when you have to teach someone else, you have to, do a good homework yourself. Otherwise, you can't teach. You have to be convinced about what you're saying. If you're not convinced about what you're saying, you're not going to sound convincing to the others. Okay.
Mataji, I want to give exam of this Bhagavad Gita. That's my main reason. I want to give the exam of Bhagavad Gita, means level after level.
Of course, please do it, Biteyan. Please do, Biteyan Prabhu. Now, the thing about all these levels is, I'll tell you why. Maybe if any of you is doing, say, 16 rounds, we have to do, for level 2, they'll expect you to do at least 1 round of the Japamala. Now, when you're going through level 2, they'll kind of encourage you to, take in more, do more of the chanting. So for Bhakti Shastri, the expectation is that you need to follow the 4 regulative principles. No intoxicants, no onion garlic, no meat eating, okay? And then this chanting of the 16 rounds. So our Prabhuji, Namanishta Das Prabhuji in ISKCON Mangalore, understands, and as well as, because of the experience that he has had over the years, very many of us can't straight away jump to 16 rounds overnight. So it's a habit that we need to cultivate. So that's why he has put these in between levels of level 2 and level 3. Otherwise, straight away from level 1, you can go to Bhakti Shastri if you have all the qualities of a Vaishnava. Okay. Okay. Any other question? Agam Prabhu, have you asked something again? Yes, Agam Prabhu, please, join. Look forward to your joining. Hare Krishna. So, if there are no questions, can we?
Mataji, in level 2, you will teach or?
Level 2, the teachers are different, Prabhuji. There'll be different teachers. I will probably take level 2 in another 6 months' time, not now. Or maybe if Prabhuji asks me to, maybe I will. But right now, I want to just concentrate on the entry level, because that is also very important, no? We need to kind of help and encourage young minds like you, right?
Yes, Mataji.
My success is only when I see all growing on your spirit. That's my success, right?
Yes, Mataji.
And that's the mercy of the Lord. And if I'm able to, see your association, your continued association with on spirituality, I think that is the biggest blessing I can have, from the Lord and from all of you. So thank you so much. Look forward to meeting you again tomorrow. So, and I will end with this prayer. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhobhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.